first? Who? Got first base. Who? Got first. Who is on first? What are you asking me for? I'm asking you.
What is up, everybody? Thank you for listening to this episode of Who is on First. I am with my good friends Brian and Michael, and we're here to talk some ball. Fellas doing okay? You
Doing
ready?
well. Doing well outside of the Cubs lost a heartbreaker again today. So,
Hey, just get used to it.
Speaking of, let me throw this out. I was
going
to send this to Brian. You think your Cubs are bad? The Cardinals have won 4 out of 6. In their run differential, they have been outscored 26-19. We've won 4 out of 6 games that we have a negative run differential. In
that's actually very impressive.
That time period.
But
Is it impressive? Or is it like, jeez?
It's the new Cardinal way. What can I say?
Well, it might be. If it makes you feel better, you could be the Rockies. They just cemented their third 100-loss season in a row. So
yeah, but they just picked Ethan Holiday. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I
being the
know.
Rockies.
That's the big thing is
He's not going to stay a Rocky.
Well, probably not.
Well, yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, no, not probably. Definitely not.
No.
Right.
They'll wait till he'll peak like Arenado, and then they'll send him somewhere and pay half of his contract.
We all know where he's going.
St. Louis, that's fine. I'm just like,
Before we get started, we got a good episode lined up. It is getting close to the end of the season, so we're kind of going to talk a little bit about that and talk about some way too far ahead free agents next year, because in reality, none of us really know what's going to happen, but it'll be fun.
speak for yourself.
Yeah,
No,
I've got it pretty much
just
figured out.
Before we get started, just to remind everybody, please do us a favor and give us a like or a comment. You can find us at WOFBB Podcast on X and YouTube. So we're going to do some free agent stuff, what it would look like at the end of the year. But first, Michael had the idea and thought it would be fun to throw out the a post-trade deadline reaction. We are, let's see, it was the 31st of July, correct?
A month.
Yeah.
Pretty much a month.
So we are a month and a few days, and we thought it would be interesting to check in with our friends that have moved on to other teams. So we'll do a really, really fun, real quick reaction to start us off, and then we'll go to it. How would we grade the trade for Ryan Helsley right now?
Well, if you're the Mets, an F-. It is unreal how badly he has just exploded. I mean, it's unreal to watch, and the amount of money that dude has lost in the last 3 weeks is unreal.
The one thing I will say, though, is he has an opportunity to save face.
100%.
So if he comes out this last month or the remaining of the month and figures out his tipping issue
Yep.
and locks in his mechanics, he could salvage that. I mean, we talk about it a lot, and I still go back to, because like I knew this was going to be the trade that came up as like it was an A++ for St. Louis as far as the way it looks right now. But at the end of the day, I still think it was the right move for the Mets.
Yeah,
It's
I would
what they
agree.
had to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just think there's more to it. You're talking about a guy, and I think sometimes teams how do I want to say this? They undervalue what it means to move teams when you've never had to do that.
I agree.
Like you think Helsley's been with the Cardinals all the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so having to shift that all of a sudden, you go to a new pitching model
Yep.
to some degree. And I know the coaches are trying to work with him. And like I said, obviously the big thing right now it's being talked about is him tipping his pitches, which he's trying to go through a mechanical change to fix that.
Sure.
Give him another couple starts. Or not starts, but appearances, and see if he doesn't settle down, because he's got too good of stuff to stay this way. But I mean, as of today, sure. I mean, it looks like the Mets swung and missed crazily on a closer to be their setup guy. And I wonder some too if for Helsley, he thrives on the pressure of being a closer and not a setup guy.
I was going to say the
that
same thing too.
I thought about that as well, because I mean, for the last 4 years, Helsley's been the guy, and obviously going there, Diaz has been lights out
you're
all
not
year
moving him out of the closer
prior to
role.
this. So it's like obviously you're not moving him, and he's the guy that was already the household name.
And they're paying him.
To the Mets' credit, like you said, they went out and coming out of the trade deadline, most people were saying the Mets won the deadline. Like, they made all the right moves. They didn't overpay for anything. And Helsley was a steal, in my opinion, based off of the stuff that he's had in the past. Like, obviously, he's given up a few more home runs this year, but, you tweak a couple things, all of a sudden a guy like that is back to the lockdown type of player. But I was thinking the same thing, like moving him to that set guy, how much does that mess with you? Because, it's still high leverage, but it's not the same type of leverage. 8th inning, 9th inning, and sometimes that plays. But also having met Ryan Helsley and talking with this guy for a short time, like, this guy does seem like the type of guy, like, my home's here, and he lived in St. Louis. This is what he loved. He lived here, and moving. Not just moving, but moving to a place like New York is just a huge culture shock on a guy who's been living in St. Louis. Sure, there's probably a couple more things to do.
He's from Oklahoma as well.
He's from Oklahoma, so it's like this guy is not used to this type of thing. Now, the only thing that could have been worse is probably if he went to the Yankees, because all eyes are on the Yankees at all points in time.
Yeah.
But like you said, if the Mets come out in this next month, they figure it out, right the ship, because there's a very good chance they still make the playoffs. As bad as they've been, and it's not just been him. That's the big piece. Is like it's more magnified because all the other pieces have been kind of bad too.
Yeah.
But it looks bad right now. But I hope he figures it out, because I like Ryan Helsley. He's a good dude.
So since he started since he started playing and pitching for the Mets, he's got an ERA of 11.45 over there.
The Cardinals are probably bringing him back as a starter.
Let's do it.
Yeah, fit right in.
Why not?
But the interesting thing, I mean, it's not a positive record, but the interesting thing is the Mets are 6-8 when he pitches. So he's still got that high of an ERA, and they're winning 6 games. Hey, I mean, losing 8 games. That's a
But
lot.
like, to credit some of the games that he's coming into right now, it's like the Mets are up 12-5, and he comes in the game, or they're getting obliterated.
True.
12-5, and he comes in a game.
I mean, so the first 7 games that he pitched for them, he lost in the game. But the last set, he's won the game, but he's gotten hit every single time.
Right.
So it is an interesting anomaly. I was thinking, before I found out about tipping, I was thinking it was just a New York thing, and a 7-inning, 8th inning thing, but tipping's probably got a lot to do with it.
The other piece to
100%.
consider,
He wasn't the greatest in St. Louis this year for a couple mechanical things, and it might have just been exacerbated when he moved to a different division. And also, I don't know if you've seen the video. Shout out to Trevor May for doing a video on this, because he's awesome. But the Braves are the one that found out tip first, and he had already played them twice.
And they exploited it.
Played them twice with St. Louis this year, and then went to their division and is playing them even more.
Well, and think about this piece. I just thought about. You guys talked about it several times. They were killing Helsley this year in St. Louis because he'd go a week and a half without pitching. How much is that? Because he goes up here to New York, and they're throwing him 3 nights in a row, straight out the gate. This is a guy who was, barely pitching to all of a sudden
once a week if
he's
he was
pitching
lucky.
Once a week. Like you said, how much of that is playing into it too? Because he went from I have a week and a half to reset, get my mind right, to I've got 12 hours to reset and get my mind right, and then it happens again, and all of a sudden that just platoons into a 3-week run where he's just one of the worst pitchers in baseball.
Looking on his reference page, so he got traded the 31st and then pitched for the Mets on the 1st. The last time he pitched was on July 25th.
Right.
So he hadn't pitched for 6 days.
Here you go.
That's crazy.
I mean,
That's
and now
crazy
obviously
work.
he's throwing and doing things like that, to stay in rhythm. But, and I don't know Helsley. I mean, I like him. I think he's a good dude,
Oh, yeah.
And
He's
this is just
great
me
dude.
being funny. But maybe he just doesn't want to be on the East Coast. And he's like,
Fair
I
enough.
got to fall apart here. And then I can really kind of go where I want to go. Now,
I
I don't think
tank
as
all
a
of my value so I make less money.
I was going to say, as a competitive guy, he's not doing that. That's just me making jest of the moment. But, but again, I mean, if I'm the Mets, I mean, obviously you got to make the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, and right now they're sitting comfortable. They still have a 4-game lead.
Their
but-
only problem is San Francisco is on fire right now.
Until this week.
Until this week.
Well, who they
we
ran
took
into.
2 out of 3. That's right.
Who you ran into.
That's what I'm saying. So
the buzzsaw that is the St. Louis Cardinals.
That's right. So obviously the Giants and the Reds are the team that's the closest at 4 games.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks are slowly putting their name in the mix.
That would be wild.
4.5 games back, just so you know. They're 7-3 in their last 10 as well.
Can you imagine Arizona sneaks in and makes another magical
They
run?
they literally did in 23.
They've got the same, nearly the same team.
And
they were right under 500.
Just to throw this out there, don't sleep, because the Cardinals are now 500 at 4.5 back as well.
Technically true.
Right. I'm not a believer that they're gonna
If you ask me of the two
this.
teams who I believed in more, if it was Arizona or St. Louis, I would tell you Arizona, even though they literally have no pitching.
Neither do we.
Neither do we.
That's what I'm saying. Like, literally, if you're asking me who I believe in, I would believe in them more.
We just talked about it. We got a negative run differential, and we're still winning games. How do we figure that one out?
We get blown up and then we win 1-1 games.
Got to.
So
we're
let's
built
jump
for the playoffs, baby. We're built
That's
for the
right.
playoffs.
That's right. I would probably grade that. It's too early to final grade it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a win-win for both sides because I think he'll be fine by the time the Mets are ready to go.
There's a very good chance of that.
Mm-hmm.
But at current state, Helsley's so bad that he could literally pitch the Mets out of the playoffs right now. Because where he's blowing up is crucial moments in the game.
It's more than just him.
Like you said, it's not just him.
Their bullpen is falling apart as a whole.
Well, and a couple of their other pieces they picked up aren't working out.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, that leads me to my next one. Let's talk about the Yankees pickups. So they picked up David Bednar from Pittsburgh, Camilo Duvall from the San Francisco Giants, which they could have used this week, and then Jake Bird from the Rockies. Who else did they pick up from the Rockies? What was his name? Third baseman McMahon, and then Jose Caballero. I mean, I'm so sorry. Caballero from the Rays. Thoughts, grades. David Bednar had a terrible first week, but he's figured it out.
yeah. I would say Bednar's the one slam dunk on that list. Like you said, it is ironic. His first couple of appearances were terrible. But then after that, the Yankees really started to right the ship a lot when Bednar got right. And you started to see actually Devin Williams start to make the turnaround a little bit after Bednar started to figure stuff out as well. How much is that is just Williams was feeling so much pressure earlier in the year, especially when they started to fall hard, to having another guy that they could throw out there as a closer type guy or maybe a setup guy.
Man, they've got
quite a few.
They got 3 closers.
And that to me is Bednar's the big turn on that. Some of the other pieces, probably both teams are not necessarily as happy as they would have liked to have been coming out of those trades. I will say that trade, the Pirates lost that trade. And coming into the deadline, it looked like they lost that trade. But then, obviously, like I said, that first week, Bednar was bad. But now, since then, the Pirates definitely lost that trade.
They got first baseman Rafael Flores. They got 3 lottery tickets.
Yeah.
But Camilo Duvall's pitched 12.2 innings, got a 4.97 ERA, 13 strikeouts. He was bad the first I remember that one game they brought all 3 in. It was like, oh man, the 3-headed monster's coming out, and they just blew up. It was a beautiful sight.
Yeah, I was actually really excited to watch the 3 of them pitch together, and then all of a sudden I was like, ooh, ouch. Terrible.
He's not been bad. Brian, what were you going to say to me? Cut you off.
No. You were fine. It's interesting to me because you talk about Duvall and then Bednar, excuse me, not Bernard, but Bednar. They only have 15 innings, 12 innings pitched for the Yankees. And then you look at Devin Williams, who's up near the 53. Now, obviously, he's been with them a lot longer.
And been struggling pretty much all season.
Yeah. I wonder, like, I agree with Michael in the sense that I think Bednar getting himself right has been the biggest catalyst for them because it does alleviate a lot of pressure. Now, obviously, we know the Yankees, their offense can bail you out of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so that makes it a bit more challenging for your closers or your relievers because the mentality shift is different.
Like because they don't have to pitch in a tight game?
Sometimes. And
I would imagine any pitcher would love to not pitch in a tight game.
But it changes the competitive levelness. I mean, think about it. Like when you go into a game where you have, let's say, a 7-run cushion, you're not as fine-tuned because you shouldn't be. Right?
Yeah.
The goal should be, I'm just getting it over the plate. I don't want to get these guys into any kind of rhythm. I would rather them have to hit their way on than just give up ways to get on. Because I have runs to play with.
Yeah.
You come into a tight game and it's like, I've got to be on. I've got to hit my spots. And when you're constantly going back and forth, you're not able to come in with a consistent rhythm of that. I think it can mess with you. Now, obviously, this is someone who has no closing experience whatsoever in his life. I did not pitch because I'm a BP fastball pitcher. So I'd be interested, to find that perspective. But when I watch and when I listen to interviews and you talk with some of these players at all levels, there is still that mental component of the game that when you come in and it's like, man, I got 7 runs to play with. I don't have to be that great. But when I only have 1 run, man, I got to come in locked in.
Well, that to me also, like, think about from the perspective of guys throwing a no-hitter or a perfect game or something. Think of how in tune the defenders out in the field are in that game. They're going to go make these insane plays. 7-run game, and guy's not going to go dive for that ball. That he would in that no-hit game type of thing. And the closers, that's why not every good reliever is a good closer. Like, the mindset is just drastically different. Like, you have to be an absolute dog to because good or bad, you are either going to win your team the game or lose it. And the teams, I mean, that's the fans get on you. I mean, Helsley, when he was getting hit early in the year, like, the fans were ready to riot because, like, what happened to this guy? He was an all-star.
Right.
But at the same time, when he was pitching better, actually, ironically, was when he'd let guys get on base, and then he kind of tightened up and he'd close the game out. It was when he'd give up the long ball, obviously, that you can't come back from that one very easily. But
all these guys are competitors, so I'm not trying to say like they're not trying to go out here like and compete.
Yeah.
But it's still mental. What fascinates me is Bednar, the one who's coming from the least winning culture, is the one that's the most successful.
I mean, that could be. I mean, personality has to play into it, but that 100%. Could be stuff too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating to me because you get catapulted from Pittsburgh into probably the most scrutinized organization on the planet.
Yep. I would agree.
Yeah.
And I mean, and now granted, he had the one bad game, but whatever happened, he was able to let it go and figure it out.
Yep.
So that first game that Bednar pitched was, man, they all pitched. It was against Miami.
Yeah,
right.
Of
all people, of all teams.
He pitched, let's see, Bednar pitched 1.2 innings, had 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, 2 strikeouts though. He has pitched overall 14.1 innings, 11 hits, 5 runs, 22 strikeouts.
Right.
So after that first appearance, he had, let me get rid of this game here, hitting up Baseball Reference. So take that first game away, he has
3 earned runs,
12.2 innings pitched, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, an ERA of 2.13.
And you'll take that.
Absolutely.
As a high leverage closer.
20 strikeouts.
Right. You're going to take that. And that's why I say it again, it's just fascinating to me, the mental aspect on the pitching side that really
man.
plays in.
There's something to be said about pitching in New York City.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Both those franchises. It's not even just a Yankees thing, but
No one will love you more when you're playing well, but no one will hate you more than your own fans up there in New York.
Right.
Yep. Let's move on to unless you guys want to grade it.
No, it's like you said, it's hard to say. Some of those, I'd say Camilo Duvall, I think in the long run, it's going to be a lot in that Helsley category where it's like, it's going to take him a little time, but once that guy figures it out, he's probably going to be electric for New York. And like you said, over the next couple of years, he's probably going to be electric for him.
Again, this isn't to put any weight. And if there are New York fans that are listening, like I throw this out as like a loose comparison. I think Duvall has the ability to get to the place. I'm not saying he will be, but he will be able to get to the place and talk about like a Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
Because he has the stuff.
Yeah.
He has the stuff.
Yeah.
He's young. He's got control.
Yeah.
You've just got to let him settle into the New York environment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think, whenever this guy's coming through, there was a drastic coaching overturn there in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you're talking Bruce Bochy. That guy had been there forever. And then Gabe Kapler or whoever it was that was in there next. Like, you're talking drastic. Yeah, drastic differences there. And, you know, how much of that played. That guy gets consistent time.
I'm telling you. Like, his stuff
can see that.
plays.
That's there's a few guys where it's like, this guy's a couple-year guy. And then you look at Duvall, and it's like, that guy, when he got sent down, I was shocked because I was like, this dude is a closer. Like, screams it. There's nothing about him that screams starter at all. This guy is a closer. You've got to figure this dude out.
Yeah. And I think strategically, I give New York a lot of credit for this.
Yeah.
I think that trade was less about this year.
Yeah.
And more about future years.
Yeah,
I think they were looking ahead.
Yeah.
Because they can let someone like Devin Williams go.
True.
They can let someone like Bednar walk if Duvall gets right.
Yeah.
And they've got their locked-in closer that they're not going to have to think about for a while.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's got 2 years left of arbitration. So,
and when that deal went down, everybody's like, oh, I really didn't think Duvall was going anywhere, and the Yankees of all places swept
we
in and
all
took him.
reacted like, whoa.
Right.
Didn't see that one coming.
Except for Jake Bird.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a flight across the United States, travel 36 hours, and check in with the Mariners. They traded for your boy, Eugenio Suarez.
Gino.
Suarez.
Just call him Gino,
Yeah.
baby.
Gino.
I've messed that
Gino
guy's name up so many
Suarez.
times in my life.
They also
Eugenio
got
Suarez.
Bo Naylor. Bo?
Yeah. No,
Josh
Naylor.
older brother.
Thoughts on that trade? Gino is doing okay since the trade.
So that's the one thing. I mean, we saw him in Seattle previously, and he was okay. He was not what we've seen out of Arizona this year so far.
It's a different ballpark.
It is. Now, ironically, he was playing so well on a bad team in Arizona, and basically they just needed him to show up and play baseball in Seattle and give the dumper a little bit of pressure off his shoulders, and it's seemingly not paid off as much. Now, I will say, Seattle had to make that move. In my opinion, like no doubt, there was no other third baseman that I think they could have gotten that could have the potential that he does to help push them into the playoffs and through the playoffs.
You mean Nato doesn't do that for you?
Not the way he looked earlier this year. Previous maybe, but and then Josh Naylor, he cooled off a little bit over the previous week and a half, but he seems like the last 2 days that he's kind of figured that back out. I will say Naylor was a steal for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Suarez, that piece, I'd say they probably get a C on right now, just because he's not been great. He's been okay.
Yeah. So he played for Seattle on the 31st day. He's batting. He's got what has he got? 128 plate appearances, 32 games played. He's got a batting average of 188, slug of 393, OPS is 643. He's got 6 home runs, 18 ribbies. The team is a perfect 16-16 since he joined them.
That's awesome.
They're the old 500.
Seems about right.
Mm-hmm.
good enough to keep him in the playoff right now.
It is
Won't be for
interesting because we talk about the mentality of pitchers and pitching in New York City. He went from a non-contender to a contender because he also did he play for the Diamondbacks in their 23 run?
No.
So he hadn't been there yet. No. So the Diamondbacks were in the World Series before he got there.
Yep.
Left Seattle, went to the Diamondbacks. They did not go in the World Series. Left the Diamondbacks, went back to Seattle. It kind of makes me wonder. Again, I've never met the person, never will, but it makes me wonder the personality, if like the pressure of, hey, we brought you here, let's go, let's like do this thing, and that's not hit his MO. I don't know that.
I mean, that's highly possible, and I say that because he was in a Reds organization that was horrendous, and he popped off for them several years in Cincinnati, and then any time where it kind of seemed like they were kind of playoff, at least potentially in their mindset, he was not the same type of guy. So I mean, that's definitely possible. I'd say, like he's not played in very many high leverage situations in his career, and I'm sure if you talk to him as a player, he's like, yeah, love to be out there, love the pressure and stuff, but at the same time, I mean, it's definitely different. It's much easier to go to the ballpark on a team that's won 30 games and pop off than it is for the team that's won 100 games and still be the guy, which ironically, like I said, maybe it's self-induced pressure. He didn't need to be the guy in Seattle. They just needed him to be a guy up in Seattle. Yeah. Because some of these other young cats have kind of started to turn it around up here in Seattle also. So, I mean, if they could get him batting, 230 or something and hit, another 6 by the end of this month or something, and they're probably going, okay, especially because Naylor came over and that dude has never been a stealing guy. Yeah, he's never been a steals guy, and he stole like 10 bags in his first 2 weeks.
And I mean, Julio is taking off.
He's taking off big time.
That's what they needed.
Season merchant, and maybe that's what did it. You know what I mean?
He got pushed a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, look at that! That's exactly what we needed."
He's only dropped. I mean, it's the last third of the season, but he left Arizona with a 248 average, and he's only dropped to 234.
I was gonna say he's not a high average guy anyway,
correct.
And so that's not the concern. And I mean, again, without really talking to these guys, if they want to call in, we'll gladly figure out a way to get them on, and we'll talk with them. But I think you got to understand you're shifting, your pregame routines all up, the way that you study film. Obviously, there are things you can do, but there are approaches that organizations have. It's a different approach in the lineup and at the plate to some degree when you're in a lineup with the big dumper and with J-Rod and some of these other guys versus the lineup he was in with Arizona. And so maybe those adjustments are just a little bit more tricky for him. And again, someone who's not going to be a high average guy, it's hard to play the deep ball game in Seattle.
True.
And I know that they're not playing all their games there.
Yeah.
But there's just something about it. And this is just me. And so if you're from Seattle, call me, talk to me, let me know.
I want to go see a game there because that park is beautiful.
It's gorgeous, but it's also a gloomy area.
Very true.
And we all know that that plays effect on you as well. And maybe he's one of these guys that is I need to be in warmer climate. Obviously, again, Arizona's a great ballpark to let the ball fly.
Yeah.
And kudos to the dude for taking advantage of where you're at.
Yeah. He has 44 homers on the season.
I was going to say, it's we're talking disappointment, but the guy's still going to finish with potentially 50
home runs
in the year.
Right.
So.
I mean, I think he's at 7 home runs since joining them. 6-7 home runs since joining them. So it's not like it's been terrible. I mean,
half
a lot of players would take
at that for the year. So.
Right. That's half the home runs of our home run leader. On our team.
True.
Okay,
True.
So it's
it's a third, okay?
Look, guy.
Exaggeration. But I mean, it's just, to me, I think it's still a win for Seattle. Yep. I think they had to do it. I would give it probably a B+.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if I was grading it out, because I think you know what you're getting.
Yep.
And they just needed the potential protection behind the dumper.
Well,
it's not even that he has to be this, get on fire, hit 3-4 home runs in a game every other game. He just needs the threat of power changes the way other teams approach that lineup.
100%. And, like you said, he's still got a month to go, though, before the playoffs come up. He could ramp it up and bat over 300 for the next month, and then we're talking this was a slam dunk, trade and stuff. I would have thought of all places, Seattle probably would have been the most comfortable place he could have been traded.
Because he's been there before?
Because he's been there before.
Unless something we don't know.
Unless he just doesn't like it up there for whatever
very
reason.
Possible, right.
Maybe him and Cal Raleigh just hate each other and no one knows.
Do not bat me behind that guy.
Not again. Come on.
I don't want to stare at that big dumper.
I can't handle it.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like I said, I think the Naylor piece was the under the radar piece. Now, I will say, I did call both of those guys going to Seattle. I did not expect them to go in separate trades.
You did.
But Naylor going there, I think he's the random guy that can show some power, plus apparently has the ability to steal bags and stuff. Like I said, Suarez, if he can get right and just shows some power, you're perfectly fine. He's not a terrible defender. He's a decent defender, not a great one.
Yeah, average.
And an average guy. Naylor's pretty much the same. Like, he's not going to kill you in a game, but he's not going to go make some insane gold glove
I would say
save.
Naylor's better at first than Gino is at third.
I would agree. I would agree with that. But
I could see them
between
also
the two of them.
keeping.
I would say probably a B+ with getting both of those guys.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the only thing I would say, if I could turn back the clock, if I am, potentially Seattle, maybe I don't make that deal because maybe I can find, a little bit better of a, I think there would have been a world in which, and I'm not saying that you would do this because, again, information's, hindsight is always better.
You're right.
I would have made a play for someone like Brendan Donovan.
Sure.
That could have played third base for them. Knowing that obviously the Cardinals were interested in moving him for the right price. Now, again, I don't know what that price would have been.
Yep.
Brian
and it's
Wu.
probably way more than what Arizona was asking for Suarez. Let's be honest. So maybe it still is the best move.
Yeah. I think it was a pretty low. It's some lottery tickets. I don't have prospect numbers pulled up or anything.
Right.
But I remember them talking about, especially the Naylor move was this is nothing.
Yeah, pretty.
Yeah.
And I will say I still think the Yankees made a huge mistake
And not
on
bringing him
bowing out on Suarez.
Instead
Because-
bringing him McMahon instead of Suarez.
But, they backed out, but without even giving it a chance.
Yeah.
Realistically, and
Because they wanted defense.
Suarez wasn't that expensive. From what I thought he was going to go value-wise, from the way the dude was raking. And I think a large portion of this, the fact the Yankees did back out of that. But to me, they still messed up because realistically, Suarez may be going off in New York right now.
You know what's interesting to me, and again, this is just me being hindsight in this sense. I wonder if there's part of Arizona in the position they're in now that they're like, crap. Why did we move
both of them?
Both of these guys. One of them I think you could have sustained.
Correct.
Right? And I know at the time it's like our pitching's falling apart. It still is to a lot of degrees. So they, even though they're 7-3 in their last 10, it could very quickly go 3-7 in their next 10.
Right.
And it's a whole different ball game. But that bat still plays, and their offense is still one of the best offenses in baseball. And it's like, and you have that. I mean, it's only better.
Well, that to me, it's tough to walk away from Suarez with the year he was having, but everyone's like, you've got to make the move.
Yeah, because you're not guaranteed he's going to sign him again. Right.
But I will say,
Unless they sign him and he comes back.
There has to be an amount in which you say he has to garner at least this much or it's not worth it to us. Because at the time, they were sitting around 500. Like, we're not talking like they were clearly out of the playoff picture. There was still an outside shot that they make a run, and Perdomo's having an unreal year. Cattell Marte obviously does his thing, and Corbin Carroll is having another very strong year. So it's like, yeah, if you still had Suarez sitting in that lineup, all of a sudden Arizona maybe we're talking that Arizona is right on the Mets. Especially with the way the Mets have fallen. So it's like, to me, did Arizona kind of mess up here with moving Suarez? Because the Naylor piece, they just didn't get a whole lot back for him, and they wouldn't have anywhere. And I don't know that he was bringing that much value to Arizona. He was playing decent early in the year.
His power had gone way
his
down,
power
and that's
dropped
what tanked his value. If he would have been a little bit lower of an average, a little bit higher power, I think they would have been able to get a little bit more out of it.
Agreed. The Suarez piece, though, you can't make up for a guy who hit 35 homers in the first half of the season.
Yeah,
that's hard to make up.
That's close to Schwarber.
Right.
All right, let's do 3 more trades, 2 small ones, and then 1 Big Daddy trade, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
Continue on with the Arizona trade. Merrill Kelly to Texas and Phil Maton to Texas. Merrill Kelly, so far this year since he's gone to Texas, has pitched, let me pull this up, 42.1 innings. He's got a record of 4-3, 35 strikeouts, 14 earned runs, 2.98 ERA. Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Turned into a little bit more ground ballish since he's been there. Phil Maton, on the other hand, has pitched 13.2 innings, 7 earned runs, an ERA of 4.6 over there, 21 strikeouts. So still high strikeout guy over there. His curveball is just disgusting. Thoughts on the trade?
If you're putting them both together, it's an A- for me. Because Maton was having an excellent season here in St. Louis.
He sure was.
And Kelly, I think we all saw the writing on the wall. Regardless where he went, he was going to have a strong finish to the season, which is probably going to get him another couple years in the league.
I was going to say, it's going to be a good, healthy contract for at least a 2-3 year deal for him.
You lock down, you've got DeGrom and at the time, Nasty Nate, both pitching at elite level, and you bring in a not just guy who's a very good pitcher, but a great playoff pitcher, and a guy like Kelly, it was a slam dunk. And like I said, Maton didn't cost hardly anything. Kelly wasn't that expensive either. So to me, A- between the two of them, probably an A on the Kelly side. And I think it realistically worked out for both teams because I think Arizona got enough back that they felt good about the trade with Kelly. Maton, they weren't going to get a whole lot for him. St. Louis wasn't.
I think St. Louis got
and that's
a
you
good
probably got enough
as
for
far as
correct
what it was.
You're not talking. This is your closer. Like this isn't Ryan Helsley, so you're not going to get the high end prospects. But if you get a couple prospects that are mid tier, you're feeling okay about it. Obviously, a 4 ERA out of a reliever you don't like to see, but I still think he's probably got the stuff that he can bring it back. And if they can get to the playoffs, big if they can get to the playoffs, they definitely now have the pitching and the hitting, especially with Nasty Nate going down. The Kelly trade looks even better for him because there were several teams that probably were contending for Kelly, I would assume.
Should have been.
Down the stretch, like you knew he was not going to be the high end starting pitcher that everybody wanted, but definitely a guy that a lot of teams should have been going, we need that guy for the playoff push. To me, like I said, slam dunk for the Rangers on Kelly. It was easy, and like I said, Maton, probably a B right now, considering he's got a 4 ERA, but still the right move.
Yeah. I actually think Texas kind of got away with the Maton trade because the other 2 relievers we shipped out got us more. Yeah. And Maton was the best reliever,
ironically,
in St. Louis.
I think obviously you're talking a free agent, not any control.
Helsley was too. Just has a higher profile.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's a closer.
Yeah.
Could be.
That in and of itself is what got the Garner as far as more value.
Yeah.
Yeah. He left St. Louis with a 2.3 ERA.
Maton did?
Yeah, and had like a 12K per 9.
That's wild.
Yeah. pitched a lot of innings too.
Were the Cardinals asking way too much? And then because I remember he went down like right at the deadline.
I think
and
it
so
was,
I feel like the Cardinals asking price
I
was
think
probably
it
way
was
too
like,
high,
oh,
and then they were just like, all right, we got to move him for anything.
4 teams
basically
walked
at this
away.
point.
All that's left is the Rangers.
And they're offering
Call 'em real
still
quick
a
and let's
couple of
get this
relievers
done.
or you know whatever, a couple of prospects. Let's do it.
I think it's
I'm a
typical
big-
Mo.
Yeah, very, very last minute. I think the Merrill Kelly thing is great because, to your point, the Rangers are really, they went into this saying, hey, we need to get better because we want to make the playoffs because we know when we get in, our guys got the stuff. And he is it's a better version of the Montgomery trade in 23. Better postseason pitcher, better regular season pitcher. So it's a big win for me.
Losing Nate stinks.
Yes,
because
it does.
I know Texas is your team, and so I would have really liked to see what they would have looked at full picture with
too,
Nate, the way
man.
he had been pitching. But I just thought about the fact that Jack Leiter's been pitching so much better too. How much of that is also Merrill Kelly having 3 uber veterans around this young kid that you can kind of talk to him about his stuff and like, hey, here and now you're gonna have Nate's probably gonna be able to be basically a coach on the sideline for the Rangers if they can make the playoffs to kind of coach up Leiter because he's going to have to be their number 3 at this point. Has to be their number 3 at this point.
Yep. All right, so 2 more. One was quite a bit before, but still a high-profile trade. Rafael Devers to the Giants for Kyle Harrison and a couple other pieces.
Which Harrison is, to my knowledge, has not come up from
I don't
AAA.
believe so.
He has not yet, actually. Devers had a really slow start, but they've turned it on. They were, before they came to St. Louis, they were like 9-1 or something like that. They were on a massive hot stretch, and their offense was like exploding.
Yeah.
The St. Louis pitching has slowed them down.
Well, as to be
What can I
expected.
say?
As to be
Right.
expected, yeah.
That juggernaut of a pitching
Thoughts
staff.
on Devers going to the Giants and what that means for the Giants long term because they've got 8 years or 7 years of them.
That's the big piece. Like, you can't just look at this year of Devers. It's what he could potentially bring in the future. Now, given what we saw for a good stretch, if they hadn't gone on this like hot stretch of the last 2.5 weeks, you're sitting here going, this guy seriously might be a locker room cancer. Because the Giants not only were playing good enough to be a playoff team, they looked like they may be the best team in that division early in the year.
Yeah.
He gets traded
quite a
there.
while until he came
And
there.
then all of a sudden, they were one of the worst teams in baseball after he got there.
So he's there till 33,
And,
2033.
I mean, he is still young. So, I mean, you could be talking. He
almost
has
30 or
he
almost
has
29.
the ability to be an all-star every year.
Yeah, he's your what do they call those aircraft carriers?
You just hope that this guy gets his mind right, and like this whole last year and a half's just been kind of crazy, and maybe this isn't who he actually is, and the media's painted him a lot worse than he actually is. But he doesn't look like a great teammate the last year and a half, and maybe that's why some of these guys in San Francisco, maybe they were just playing a little tight around this guy early on too. I mean, they were looking at this guy, he's not picking up for Big Papi, and some of these this guy's a Hall of Famer. You're not going to talk to him, just basically ghosted him and stuff.
Right.
And the team loses their starting first baseman, and you just basically tell them, sorry. I'm playing really well. Everyone else, that just stinks, man. Like,
Figure it out.
Don't know what to tell you. So
It's interesting. So he went over, what is this date? He went over in August. No, he went over in June.
I was gonna say it was like June.
June 17th. He's played 69 games. He's got an average of 256, a slug of 488, OPS of 848. He's got 16 home runs and 41 ribbies over there.
Yeah.
I'd take it.
He's a machine.
The
As a
interesting
hitter.
thing, to your point, the team is 31-38 since he started.
And that's having gone on like a 9 out of 10 streak over the
that
last
is
2 weeks.
with-
Like that's
That's minus Sunday's game.
I want to say since he had been traded, they actually had a worse record than the Rockies post that trade until the last 2 weeks.
and Boston's done the opposite.
And Boston, they just seemingly took off after losing an all-star.
Yeah, that still baffles me, but
Yeah.
I mean, good on Boston.
Right.
yeah.
But
Any thoughts? All right,
yeah,
one
I mean,
more.
so honestly, I think the big win in this, I mean, yeah, getting a player of Devers' caliber is always huge.
Right.
But honestly, I think the big winner in this is Willy Adames. Because I think the weight of having to be the face of that franchise comes off of him. And we've seen during this run, and since I'd be interested, I haven't looked up specific numbers. I know he's gotten hot as well.
Yep.
But since Devers has joined the team, his numbers has started to climb back to what they were paying him for. And so I think, again, you talk about this, Tim, a lot. Like, there's still this dynamic of having to have 2 aircraft carriers on a team for it to be successful. They didn't have that. They were hoping Ramos could develop into that.
Still might.
And he could. There's potential on this team.
Yeah.
I think, you're starting to see what's his name? The center fielder, Lee.
Yeah.
Jung-Hoo Lee.
Yes. He's starting to become a productive leadoff, get on base guy. And then you have Devers in the 2-hole.
Yeah.
And then Adames gets to come in and he gets to play the role that he played when he was having success in Milwaukee, and that's just driving people in.
Yeah.
Because the dude's a really good hitter with runners in scoring position.
True.
And I think they were missing that prior to Devers coming because, again, you add a guy of that caliber to your lineup, pitching staffs have to adjust to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
honestly,
it changes it.
It probably benefited Devers a little bit more because Adames hits in the 3. So since June 17th, Willy Adames he's played 68 games and he's hitting 261, 526 slug, and 876 OPS. So almost identical OPS. Mm-hmm. He's got 19 home runs.
Right.
He's got more home runs than Devers in that spot.
Right.
That's wild.
That's
wild considering he played the whole
shift.
season there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he played 3 months.
And didn't get close to that.
No.
Yeah.
He was struggling.
Because I think he's got 28 total home runs now. So he hit, what is that, 9 home runs before Devers got there and 19 since.
Right.
And they've lost so many games.
Right. And that's the enigma. And that's why like baseball is just
such a beautiful game.
Yeah. It's amazing that you can have teams that go on these offensive tears, yet they cannot win a game.
Yeah, right.
But you have teams that cannot score runs and somehow are still winning series.
True. Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's amazing. And for me, again, hindsight looking at it, I think it's a tremendous win-win for both, for San Francisco and Boston, given what Boston's been able to do.
Sure.
I think it got a little bit tougher with some of the injuries that Boston's now facing.
Yeah.
But I think in the long run, they needed to clear runway to give some of these younger prospects playing time. And obviously, it was not working with Devers in Boston. And anytime you have that, you just got to get rid of the guy. And it's hard to think that way because you're like, to the level generational talent.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But if he cannot mesh with that organization, it's just going to be an absolute train wreck.
And there's almost no salvaging that when the player's playing for it. Now, post his career and stuff, maybe the Red Sox and him work that stuff out.
Sure.
But it's like, it's too hard on those players to work out the personal stuff.
And I think Boston won because what did they do? They sent him completely across the country.
Yep.
He's not in the AL.
Yep.
The only time they're really going to face him in meaningful games is if they both hit the World Series.
True.
So, like, it's a win.
Yeah.
On both sides for me.
Now, the rest of the league may have lost out.
Right.
And the Red Sox could have lost out from the fact that they cashed in so early on him. Now, obviously, it's benefited them huge for the rest of this season because they've seemingly taken off. And like you said, a lot of young guys have been able to play. Mm-hmm. But if they held on to Devers till the deadline, maybe that package was a lot crazier than what they actually got back.
Yeah, it's hard to say because, I mean, to the point we're talking about Geno, I was talking to another buddy about this week. I feel like there are 2 trade deadlines, the off season and then the deadline.
Agreed.
And pitchers should only probably ever go at the deadline because they have so much value.
Yeah.
And the off season is for position players.
Sure.
That's when you're going to get the most bang for your buck.
Well,
That's why St. Louis held on to Donovan. He's going to have higher value in the offseason.
and Nato too.
I mean, it's an
100%.
anomaly because Joe Ryan's probably going to get traded this offseason, and it's going to be insane.
Well, so the big piece with
he's
me
going to
for Devers is Devers was having a very good year
Yeah.
in Boston. Like he
But the
started
team
off
was
really
horrible.
slow, but the team was really struggling. But if you trade a guy who's batting over 300, because I'm pretty sure he was prior to, and he probably had 20 plus homers at the time, or close to 20 homers already on the season.
Yeah.
By the deadline, he probably would have been at 20 or over. You trade a guy like that, plus what everybody's already seen out of this dude for the first 8 or 9 years of his career is like, this is an elite player who's still only like 28 or 29 years old. You may have had several teams that gave you more than Harrison in some of these pieces. Now, given kudos to Buster Posey for calling early and making the deal happen. And once again, you get brought in a generational guy. You could not have expected them to fall so hard over these 2 months prior to these last couple weeks.
Right. Here's my thing, though. Like, and again, this is just me. And maybe I'm a little bit biased because I followed Harrison. I told Tim I actually wanted the Cardinals to pursue Harrison because I knew they were going to sell
Sure.
on that. And I think, honestly, if that kid figures out, and again, that's a big if. I think he will. But if he figures out his command issue, they have another Chris Sale in the making.
Ooh.
Like that.
Right there. And you could potentially add him with Garrett Crochet. And all of
And
a
Joe
sudden, well, yeah, if they pull that off, right?
No.
Right. Like, I mean, yeah, you're starting to get into like, type of things.
Plus whoever the heck they have down in the system. That
Right. I mean, because
5 Cy
obviously,
Youngs down
like,
there probably.
Bayo's starting to figure it out a little
True.
bit again and returning to, like, all of a sudden, they've got some unbelievably talented young arms.
True.
That they can do some work with.
Plus, I think also, I know it's a horrible season this year, but Tanner Houck,
Yeah.
you never know what.
True. He's been really good the last couple of years.
Horrible this year, but last year, man, he is an all-star,
Yeah.
sub-3 ERA.
Yeah.
And so you never know, like, after the injury, he's healed up, what the offseason can do to him.
Said Giolito's been a lot better too.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how much longer he's under contract with them, but if they can get a couple more years out of
He's
him
got a
pitching
club
that way,
option.
like
Right. And I mean, and again, a lot of this is just, a win-win in my perspective. The only thing that scares me with Boston is you're starting to see just like these reports and rumors of some of these veteran guys, like Bregman now coming out. The reports are he doesn't want to take the option. He's going to opt out and become a free agent. I know some of that's a money game for him, but it starts to get me nervous because it's like, why are these reports leaking out this early? This decision can't be made until the offseason comes anyway.
right.
So why are we talking about that unless there's something underlying in that front office that's going on where they're either overvaluing their younger talented players,
Right.
and it's frustrating some of these quote unquote, because even though Devers is younger in comparison, he was still the veteran on that team. That's some of the issue that's starting to arise within the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And how much of that do players view differently than us as the fans view? Like, to us, it was all Devers. Like, Devers looks like the bad guy coming out of that. But to his credit, it's kind of rough as Boston, from Boston.
Helped us
like,
win the game.
Hey, by the way, we know you've been playing third base here for the last several years, and you're a great hitter. We've obviously signed you on this massive contract. You're our face. Actually, we're going to bring in this other guy really late at spring training. He's going to take your position, and you're no longer going to be playing in the field. But it's because we want you to hit more. And then, a month later, all of a sudden your first baseman goes down and they come in and go, we need you to play first base now.
Right.
I do understand where he's coming from and how much of the players are going, they did him dirty.
And I wonder, too, on some levels, Alex Cora.
Sure.
Like, if he is just not the diplomatic guy because
see
he does air out a lot of things vocally outside of the clubhouse.
True.
And that can get under a player's skin when they've been in environments. Now, Devers has always been in Boston up to this point. But you have Bregman, who's been around Houston, who is very tight clubhouse all the time. Everybody's got everybody's back. Manager included in that. And you come to Boston and you've got a guy who's like, I think he's a good manager.
Yep.
But he's not necessarily great at player management.
Well, and Bregman would have played for him down in Houston. And, how much of him, he's like, oh, I loved him as an assistant coach. I'm sure he's going to be a great coach. And he gets there and he's like, oh, this isn't the same dude.
Right.
Like, this is not the guy that was our bench coach.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I think that's a big portion. Now, obviously, the money played. But
I think the biggest part of it is
most likely the money.
Right.
But it is interesting, the fact, because realistically, you're talking Bregman missed a good portion of the season, hurt. But he's played really well outside of it, obviously.
A month, maybe? Probably 30 days or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, we're sitting here going, I don't know. Like, is Boston a little shakier as an organization than we truly realize? Like you said, from the players' perspective, I don't know. It doesn't look great that a bunch of these vets are stepping out, and like Chris Sale basically lost his mind up there in Boston. So
and it's just, to me, it's just interesting. It's kind of like the same thing. And again, this is another talking point for another podcast. Like the rumors that are all of a sudden surfacing around St. Louis potentially selling. Like they come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so they're worth trying to dive into a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap this up, one more, and we're going to talk about the big daddy of all trades. The San Diego Padres took everything from everybody.
True.
Gave up nothing.
Yeah, so they got
they did give up something.
They gave up everything.
You're right.
They gave up everything to get everything. So they acquired Nestor Cortez, Ryan O'Hearn, Roman Laureano, Freddie Freeman, J.P. Sears, Will Wagner, Mason Miller, and Jorge Quintana from everybody. The big ones, I would say, I would even take Cortez out of this because he's a fifth pitcher, our fifth starter. Because
and nobody saw that move coming. Realistically, they were like the Brewers traded
Nasty
Nestor. How?
I just think he's a number 5, and they have an injury, so they need innings. I would say O'Hearn, Laureano, and Mason Miller were obviously the big 3, but I think Freddie Fermin's been a little underrated. Throw a couple things at you guys.
I would throw Laureano has had an amazing resurgence
we'll get
on
there.
that.
So the Padres are 18-16 since the deadline.
Yep.
O'Hearn has played in 30 games, has 170 plate appearances. The team is 14-16 in his games.
Yeah. Bad move.
He has he's hitting 247
Great move for Boston or Baltimore
with a 713 OPS. But to what you said, Roman Laureano has played in 32 games. The team is 16-16, but he's hitting 322 with a 951 OPS.
Man's getting paid.
Yes, he is
100%.
It's been ridiculous. Mason Miller has an immaculate inning in the books. Let me pull
piece
up
of cake.
his...
That's easy to do. What are you talking about?
What?
We see him every week.
I mean, and the crazy thing about that whole thing to me is it was 9 sliders, and he's got 104, 105 in his, front pocket because he can throw it as many times as he wants. Mason Miller, since he went to the Padres, has pitched 12 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 22 strikeouts.
That's not good at all.
1.5 ERA.
Send him away.
Wow.
You don't want to keep that
now,
type of guy.
The Padres famously gave up their number
Farm system.
1 prospect to Oakland.
He's the number 2 or 3 prospect in baseball?
Number 4. And they pretty much drained their farm, but they'll get it all back in the offseason.
100%.
What do you think about the how would you grade the trade?
Well, the fact that they're still in the playoff hunt and actually realistically have a chance to win that division tells me they won.
Do they have a chance to win the division because they're good or because the Dodgers just suck?
Both. Both. I think if you asked me today if I trusted the Padres in the playoffs or the Dodgers, I would trust the Padres more because of the moves they made.
That's fair. That's a fair one.
If they didn't have those guys, I would not say that.
Yeah.
obviously the Dodgers have a lot of experience, but the Dodgers have been really shaky this year. And obviously they've lost a couple games, but probably a good portion of those, ironically, were to the Dodgers. But
That's so weird.
Right. It's a mental thing. 100%. But Tatis, man, I will continue to come back to him. Machado, that guy screams. He's got some fireworks left in the old bat. And Laureano could, huge.
Laureano's an outfielder, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Left fielder.
Great
He's
defender.
the left fielder that they needed.
He's actually showing power.
Yeah.
He's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid, I'm telling you. He could have a huge playoff run. Plus, Jackson Merrill's the under radar. He's been hurt quite a bit of the season this year. If you're able to get that guy healthy, plus Fermin's been a nice add-on. Miller's been electric.
Yeah.
And Sears, he's a guy you don't really have to worry about. And potentially, if you can work him out, get his stuff figured out, he could be a pitcher of your future for your team.
He's technically not their closer.
No, Sears is like a 5 probably on a lot of teams, maybe up to a 3. JP Sears,
depending on where
in the playoffs, you probably can throw him into a relief role. But it doesn't even matter because they've got one of the best bullpens in baseball.
Right. They're playing the short game when it comes to the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, their starters probably will not see a lineup more than twice.
No, I would agree with that.
That's just they're going back to that Cleveland mentality when Andrew Miller was there.
God,
and
that was beautiful to watch.
Right, and they would their pitchers just basically had to get to the 4th or 5th inning, and then they could sit back and just go, okay, you
hand
guys
over
got
the keys to the car.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say the Padres, I would give them an A on that, even though the record's not 100% where you would love it to be. The fact that they didn't fall out of the picture, if they can get to the playoffs, they are a team I can see making a run to the World Series. And that's the big piece. And a guy like Miller, obviously, can just end games. So the fact you got him and Suarez both on the backside of that lineup, pretty nice luxury to have.
Yeah. I will say this. I will give them an A- with bonus points available. If they make the playoffs, it goes to an A. If they go deep in the playoffs, it's an A+ move, right? I know that seems a little kind of redundant, but I mean, I like what they did, and it's exactly what they had to do.
Yep.
I mean, that was the thing for them. The only point I disagree in all of what you said, Michael, is I still can't write the Dodgers off just because the caliber of players that they have. Legitimately, they could blow the division and walk into the wild card and all of a sudden just become the best team in baseball once again
100%.
Because of the players that they have. Is it shaky right now? 100%.
Yep.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Yep.
Betts is basically nowhere
A
to be
non-factor
found
right now.
for that team.
Yep.
They've had some spurts where things look like they're starting to cement again, and then it's just like the wheels come off once again.
Yep.
And so that does give me pause. I think they are more vulnerable now than they've been in a long time as far as the Dodgers.
Yep.
But I'm still not. It's kind of like the Houston effect.
Yep.
I'm still not ready to write them off.
Yeah,
Totally understand.
They're 10 games under 500 since the beginning of June.
Right.
So the only reason they exist right now is because of the incredible hot start they got off to.
Yes.
But man, if they go 5 games under 15 under 500 the rest of the season, they could not make it. And that's what's kind of crazy.
That is wild.
But they do play the Padres 2 more times.
And the Padres cannot solve them
They can't.
for whatever reason.
They can't. And it's only been since the playoffs last year because they usually beat them in the regular season a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Their bullpen is just pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Ever since the trade, Suarez has a 1.7 ERA. Mason Miller has a 1.3. Alex Jacob has a 1.1.
I wish we had
Jason
one of those.
Adam has a 2 ERA.
Now he got hurt.
Yeah.
He did get
So
hurt.
that's going to be a
Adrian
big hit.
Morjon has a 2.6 ERA.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Estrada has a 15.6 K per 9.
Right.
Stupid.
And again, best bullpen in baseball
Yes,
right
yeah,
now.
very
There's
much
no argument, and that will carry them in the playoffs as long as their starters which I have confidence in, their starters as far as getting through 2 times in the lineup.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't scare me from the starting position. I would even be relatively comfortable to some degree, not a game 1.
Yeah.
Or like a turn point game, but even throw a Nestor out there, just knowing that he's only got to go
Not
through the
against the
lineup
Dodgers.
twice. No. But like, because just knowing that, like, again, we talked about it earlier, but think of the pressure that comes off of your starting pitcher when he knows, like, I just got to really get these 9 guys out twice.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
it. Like, that's it. Like, I don't have to go deep in this game.
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything super crazy.
Yeah.
Just get through the lineup twice as quick as
Yeah.
I can. And then I can go shower and come back to the dugout and just watch the rest of the game.
Yeah. I think a lot of it hinges on Michael King coming back and staying healthy and making it to the postseason because he was stellar
Right.
for them last year because we know Musgrove's not coming back this year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
but, yeah,
Darvish is an interesting because he does have playoff experience.
Yeah.
He does figure out he is
No,
what I would consider
agree,
a big game
but they
pitcher.
have to have 3 because the bullpen can't survive a 3-game, a 5-game, a 7, and a 7.
Yeah, and Cease has been so shaky this year.
So it's going to be Cease, Darvish, and they got to have King because they're not going to send Cortez or Sears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Well, I mean,
I'm just like,
yeah, it's ironic. The Baltimore trade that went down was everyone's like they had to trade O'Hearn
yeah,
for obvious reasons, and he looked like the big piece of that trade. When it goes down, you're like, oh, Laureano, nice. They got a good left fielder. Guy's not a great hitter, but they got a good left fielder, and that's what they needed.
Yeah.
yeah.
But he's been a
flipped
huge
that.
bright spot.
Yeah. Part
Very
of
good
me
defender and
wonders
a power
if
hitter.
San Diego didn't go, we want Laureano, and Baltimore's like, well, if you want him, you got to take
Sure.
O'Hearn as well.
Sure.
And
I feel like the players flipped because O'Hearn was having a better season in Baltimore.
Yeah,
than
O'Hearn was
Laureano
having a career year.
came
Yeah.
over and then it was flipped.
yeah, and I thought O'Hearn had an opportunity to go off in
I
San
did too.
Diego with the way that ballpark plays.
Maybe Laureano was
He
like,
just can't
"Listen,
figure
sit
it
down.
out."
I'm
But
gonna
yeah.
do this.
Yeah, Laureano apparently on the flight from Baltimore out to San Diego said, "Look, you had your run. Now it's my turn,
Now, if you,
brother."
if
Back
you do
up.
remember, when he played with the A's, he was a hot prospect, and he
Yeah.
was really good his first couple of years, and then all of a sudden just had a couple weird things happen, and then all of a
And as a
sudden,
left fielder, got an absolute cannon of
Yep.
an arm.
yeah,
Yeah, which you would normally want in right field, but you got a platinum
But
glover in
I
right
was going to
field.
say, that dude is arguably the best player in baseball right now.
Until this offseason. All right, let's wrap that up. We'll have to see. Most trade deadlines are always an interesting thing just because nothing matters until the postseason starts, and teams might not make it. They might make it, and those players, so many things go into it. But
quick one real fast. The Phillies nailed the deadline.
yeah,
They-
Johan Duran.
Did not see that happening, and Bader's been good.
Bader's been a stud
So-
for them.
There was a couple
Well
more.
done.
Toronto made good
Yep.
moves with Bieber, and he's been decent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I think
yeah.
there are quiet wins like that, 100%.